What's up, you guys? The Curious Owl here, and today I am reviewing the book Trapped in Silver by Emily Sowden. This was a book that I was sent to review from Oftomes Publishing, but all of my opinions that I will be expressing in this review are going to be my own, and the book itself has actually been out for quite a while that you can download for somewhere between 99 cents to $2.99. I don't remember off the top of my head, through Oftomes Publishing. They post all of their publications on Amazon, so you can go find it and download it to your Kindle or some kind of reading technology device. The story revolves around a main character named Ava, who is, I would guess, between the ages of 15 to 18. She seems to be very, very mature for her age, but for most of the story, she talks about having to live on her own for most of her life. Her mother passed away when she was very young and has worn a locket around her neck since that her father has said will protect her. Almost every night since she has worn this locket, she experienced these incredibly vivid nightmares that talk of her being essentially either ripped to shreds or violently murdered or experiencing some kind of excruciating pain, and she wakes up and feels herself actually hurting because of this vivid nightmare. Ava also disguises herself as a boy in order to protect her identity, because in the society that she lives, women are more likely to be kidnapped and taken prisoner by someone and possibly later found raped and or murdered or severely injured to the point of hysteria. So in order to protect her, her father insists that she disguises herself as a boy, and she creates a new persona called Cedar. The story begins on a night where she goes out and is hunting when she shouldn't be, because it is incredibly dangerous for her to be out at night alone, and she comes across a strange boy named Ethan, who seems to be either the same age or a little bit older than her. And after she meets Ethan, all kinds of crazy things start happening to her. So overall, my thoughts on this novel were that it was actually really enticing. All of the imagery was incredibly vivid. I was actually feeling like I was seeing everything that Ava was experiencing, especially when it came to her nightmares, because her nightmares were so excruciatingly painful to read and so vivid that I was like, how is this happening? And I actually could almost feel like myself being hurt or torn apart or something along the lines of the nightmare, because it was just so clear to see and so vivid in the writing. I really like Emily Sowden's writing style because it definitely brings out a lot of imagery without being too wordy at the same time, because a lot of people, what happens is when they write very image-filled stories, it gets very wordy and you end up becoming a lot like J.R.R. Tolkien with talking about 5 pages about a single tree. Emily Sowden, though, is very concise with her writing, but it is very clear and it is very imaginative, and the images come out so clearly to you as a reader that you are so enraptured in the story that you just don't want to take your eyes off the page. The best way that I can describe the kind of world that Ava lives in is something along the lines of it meeting the Abnegation neighborhood from Divergent and District 12 from The Hunger Games, because although that the story itself was incredibly magical and possibly went into a bit of a sci-fi turn with being in different realms or different universes, there was a very heavy influence of a old-time kind of scenario. So my thought was that it was a very run-down area, possibly from the 1800s. I don't know. I never really understood exactly where we were supposed to be in terms of time and space. So for some reason, all I got, though, was a mix of Abnegation and District 12 in like this 1800s kind of time period, and a lot of the things that kind of went on and the mannerisms of the different sexes and genders and different social situations, it sounded much more reminiscent of things I had heard about that would happen in 19th century kind of social interactions and things of that nature. I really did like the main character Ava a lot. I think that incorporating a different side to her with her turning into her supposed brother Cedar was really interesting, because it provided a lot of complexity to the character herself, and the fact that she is doing this because otherwise she's afraid she is going to be hurt by people in society. Her father essentially made her start dressing like a boy, which I think was so interesting, because it is not often in even dystopian novels that we see a character having to go through several transformations throughout a story, jumping from one side of them to the other in order to protect themselves. I really don't know, though, if it was super effective, because all that was really mentioned was that she put on some different clothes and a hat and boots. I don't know if that would actually be really fooling anyone if it was actually in normal society, but maybe then like people were much more stupid and really couldn't tell the difference between Ava and Cedar. I don't know, it just, for some reason, I really like the idea, but at the same time, I feel that it was kind of convenient that nobody really made the connection, especially since anytime Cedar was around, Ava never was, or if Ava was around, Cedar never was. I don't understand how people wouldn't have made that connection sooner, because I feel like, especially today, people would have gotten that like so easily. One of the things I really did not care about this book though, and I liked this book a lot, but the biggest thing that I really couldn't understand in this novel was all of the romantic-esque relationships between Ava and a lot of the male characters in the story. But I don't know, it kind of bounced from different relationships, and I'm just like, I don't know exactly how I feel about that, because I feel that that makes the story so much more muddled. That was one thing I really didn't like, just because I feel like it distracted so much from the overall story for me personally. I just really didn't like the fact that, I don't like that there wasn't one specific person that this person had in mind that could have had a lot of sexual tension with. I would have been fine if it was with one of the boys and it kind of was unrequited from the other guys, but I don't know, it just, something about it really didn't sit well with me. But there you guys go. Those are some of the thoughts that I had on Trapped in Silver by Emily Sowden. I really hope that, you guys get the chance to be able to read this, because although I did have a couple of problems with it, I really did enjoy it a lot. I thought it was a very great story, and I definitely cannot wait for the sequel that comes out in February, because I am really interested to see how Ava continues to grow as a character and how the relationships that she has with all these other characters are kind of involved. Thank you to Oftomes Publishing for sending me an e-copy of this novel to review for you guys and for Emily. Emily, thank you so much for allowing me to read it, and thank you so much for creating a wonderful story that I'm very excited to continue with your next novel in the series. But thank you guys so much for joining me in this video of the Trapped in Silver by Emily Sowden. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up, and all of my more concise thoughts and more detailed thoughts will be in my blog post down in the description below. And make sure that if you guys do want to go read the book, you go on Amazon to get the Kindle edition of it. It's somewhere between 99 cents to $2.99, I think. And if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video.